Grazie, buongiorno e prima di tutto devo chiedere scusa ai partecipanti italiani a questa giornata perché...
The microphone. Use the microphone.
Oh, I'm sorry. Con i partecipanti italiani a questa giornata perché questa sessione è interamente prevista in inglese, so I'll turn to English from now on. And first of all, please let me express some thanks to Cittalia, and particularly to the managing director, Mrs. Galeone, to Mrs. Chiodini for the opportunity to carry out this study and to discuss it today. And secondly, let me thank the young researchers who had written national reports that were used as a basis for the comparison, namely Luca Alteri, Daniela Lotrecchiano, Livia Lucianetti, and Samuel Messner from Kiel. And last but not least, our four international experts, Christian Lefebvre from Paris, José Manuel Rodriguez Alvarez, Hubert Heinert, and Mr. Harding, who I hope is already connected with us from Manchester. I hope so. And then what I would like to do is to present now some of the main aspects of our work, and in particular, three aspects. First, the reasons why we carried out a comparison on the ways European governments deal with urban issues, and especially why we choose these four experiences, so France, Germany, Spain, and the United Kingdom, and then the main results of our analysis. And finally, as happens in most scientific experiences, analysis start from questions but end in new questions. Then in the end I have some open questions to propose, especially those I would like my colleagues to try to answer now. So first, the reason for this study. There are two major kinds of reason. One is more academic or scientific, and the other one is more, let's say, practical or carrying political implications. As concerned academic curiosity, as Mrs. Salone told before, during the last 10 or 15 years there has been a discussion on the actual role of nation states in the context of globalization, transnational governance, European integration, and decentralization of powers. And according to different theories, there would have been a hollowing out of the state, as both supranational actors and local and regional governments would have gained power at the expense of national governments, or a process of so-called political rescaling would have taken place, which results in a more complex special setting of political power produced by the denationalization, according to Saskia Sassen, of statehood managed by national states themselves. In such a general context, we can see that urban challenges have increasingly been dealt with by cities themselves through their own policies, as well as by transnational actors like the European Union with its regional and urban policy. And for this reason, we thought that it was interesting to take stock or to what do actually national governments do in order to cope with the challenges their cities must face. This is the first reason. As concerned the second practical reason, as Mr. Galeone told before, we must consider then efforts to bring about innovation in public policies are increasingly based on learning processes. Such processes can make use of knowledge on success and errors, also coming from the experience of others. And for this reason, an aim of the study was also to offer the Italian policymakers information and knowledge about these, about other experience. And another and more specific reason comes from who ordered this study, the National Association of Italian Local Governments, because such associations are, I think, especially interested in knowing what their natural interlocutors, the national governments, can do and actually do when dealing with problems affecting urban areas. These are the reason why we decided to carry out this study. And we chose 4 case studies, taking into account several aspects. Thus, we have 4 countries that have had to react to different kinds of urban problems, such as the industrialization and unemployment, lack of competitiveness, social disease, urban riots in some cases, social polarization and spatial segregation, the shrinking of the welfare state and of fiscal resources, metropolization, urban sprawl, and so on. Naturally, not all of these happened in the same manner in all countries, in all the national urban systems of Europe, and not with the same intensity, so a comparison is possible. And we also have in our, let's say, sample, both unitary and centralized constitutional system, as well as federal or quasi-federal system, which is particularly interesting for us, from the Italian point of view, as current reforms are deepening the perspective of federalization. So based on these premises, what we did was to analyze the available body of knowledge, the existing studies, on the 4 experiences, and then we analyzed documents through a desk research. And of course, we know very well that the results we have reached would benefit from empirical research, but needless to say, such research would be much more difficult and expensive. So for the moment, I hope that what we have can provide a first base, at least a first basis for discussion. About the results. Let's start from a more precise formulation of the question. The first, in general terms, is explorative. What do actually states do for their cities? Such a question would bring immediately within a second question. Why do states carry out some actions and not others? To tell the truth, at the beginning of the study, we deliberately excluded an explanatory perspective focusing on the motives of convergence and differentiation. But nevertheless, according to my opinion, some evidence appeared, and I will try to synthesize and offer them to the discussion. But a third and central question is about the existence or not of not only actions or policies, but of a clear and coherent political strategy at the national level for dealing with urban challenges, and about the nature of such strategies, if existing. Of course, our aim was not to evaluate whether urban strategies and policies are good or not. This would have not been possible, but we examined many documents that contain either institutional assessments or independent assessments, and we have taken them into account in order to report the kind of discussion that states' action on urban issues have brought about and the main problems that have arisen. So let's start now with results and tentative answers to this question. First result, as we took a look around at what governments were actually doing, is a repertoire of national governments' actions that have impact on cities.